This changes everything we thought about the Oilers strategically wise as Kris Knoblauch breaks down his thoughts on the team last year strategically compared to this year, saying there hasn't been a whole lot of differences, but today here on the channel I will prove otherwise. Hope you're enjoying your day so far. Hope you're getting set for the game tonight against the Dallas Stars at Rogers Place. The Stars without Mikko Rantanen, but still have a whole lot of firepower behind them, and the Oilers trying to get back on track for only one game at home this week until they go back out on the road against the Seattle Kraken on Saturday. Again, make sure you subscribe here to the channel for any and all Oiler news. Now, the Oilers in Stars, a whole lot of eyes will be on them tonight. As you can see, a vast space of which should be other games around them, but they are the only one on tap tonight in the National Hockey League. And another thing, under the microscope is Kris Knoblauch in how the Oilers have performed, tactically wise so far this season. As you just confirmed, the claims of changing the Oilers system has led to a slow start. Those were incorrect, apparently, according to Kris Knoblauch, whether it was, poor planning by the head coach going into the season with his new assistant coaching staff, or just poor execution by the players. Could be a little column A, could be a little column B, could just be total disarray across the board here. But Knoblauch saying, the team just hasn't executed as well thus far. Some small changes coming, didn't really dive into what those were, and I mean what head coach will. And limiting slot chances will be a focus there, so it seems like he's liking what the offense has done over the past couple games, but it's just more so trying to rely on the defensive side of things. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, the Oilers, trying to sit back on a lead, and it has backfired for them many times, saying we've been playing the same exact systems 5-on-5 as we have been the previous 2 years, and we have talked about how things will work out or turn around, but it has got to the point where things haven't turned around 20-plus games into the season. And now we are starting to alter some things. Today in practice we adjusted one thing. It is hard because we have had so much success going to the Cup final twice. We didn't want to change anything, but now we are playing like we have for as long as we have to start thinking things just won't work themselves out. We need to make some adjustments, whether that is moving guys around or tweaking our system, and we are starting to do that there. Now, I know Knoblauch doesn't want to fall into, a cycle of familiarity where this team has just been playing the system so long where other teams have started to figure it out. I mean, they pretty much changed because of the Stanley Cup final last year. Florida's ferocious forecheck, just, beating them time after time there, especially, in periods when the Oilers had the long change. It just seemed like Florida was in Edmonton's end all game long there. But according to Jack Han, a master of tactics on Twitter, love what this guy has to bring, for not just the Oilers, but every other single team in the NHL. And he's saying the Oilers' problem so far, a big problem has been the breakouts. This is a good play and something you may want to do against a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, who are very stoic on defense. But if you do this all the time against everyone, and the results are what they are there. Now, this did result in a goal, but you can see sort of the spacing for the Oilers on the breakout, where they have players that are pretty much covered by all the Carolina Hurricanes on the ice there. There's not a whole lot of support there for Darnell Nurse. He pretty much either has to shoot it down the ice, which he did, and that led to a Jack Rosvic goal, or try to take it up himself. And again, that could result in a turnover there, as the Carolina Hurricanes, they have a lot of firepower that could turn the puck over back the other way. But for the Oilers, they're a team built on speed there, and, that helps when you have forward support down low there to push the puck up with, again, more bodies on the ice. But again, according to Jack at the top, the biggest problem with the team tactically, the spacing is wrong and the players are too far apart there. Now, if Knoblauch wants to say the system hasn't completely changed from last year, that's fine. But don't just, lie and say, yeah, no, we haven't done anything different. It's the same breakout, the same, what you want to call it tactically. But if you compare it, that screenshot to the playoffs last year, you can see forward support down low. Evan Bouchard, he's got, the fastest guy in the NHL, Connor McDavid. And there's lots of options that could happen. Give it to McDavid, he can use his speed, or just, keep passing it and breaking up the Vegas Golden Knights defensive scheme there. And again, you can see the Oilers, tore apart the Vegas Golden Knights in that second round series there. So the Oilers, tactically wise, yeah, they tore apart the Vegas Golden Knights, tore apart, the Dallas Stars in the conference final, and then they get to Florida, and then Florida, again, dismantles them, and then Knoblauch says, okay, yeah, we got to do something this year, but he's disguising it as, yeah, no, I haven't really done anything so far. And that Stanley Cup final led to Connor McDavid, we kept trying the same thing over and over again there. So again, Knoblauch took that as, hey, to break the forecheck, you have to, space out the forwards. You have to have them fly the zone, but that hasn't been working for the Oilers, the defensive side of things. Their defensemen get flustered there, and passes either, go down the ice for an icing, or they're just unable to find anybody, and it leads to passes being picked off. And it's, again, the only success that you have with, forwards flying the zone and trying to stretch passes, again, if it somehow manages to find the guy on the other side, or it goes off the end boards, and what we saw with the Jack Roslovic, the first goal against the Carolina Hurricanes, but to just flat out say, yeah, the slow start is because of the changes. It's just the whole execution by the entire team, not just one or two individuals. It is the entire team just not executing properly there. So again, you just have to keep things simple. You don't have to reinvent the wheel offensively or defensively. You just need to keep it simple in the Oilers. To get back in the win column there, it is not that hard to do, but again, what am I'm just here, sitting in the chair talking about the Oilers, and Kris Knoblauch has paid the big bucks to put something together here on the ice, and we will see that tonight against the Dallas Stars. It is the exact same lineup from against the Florida Panthers there. Connor Clattenburg on that fourth line with Tomasic in Yamark, and then everything stays the same there. I'm liking, Knoblauch keeping things consistent. He's not trying to overthink things. He's just having, somewhat of a hands-off approach here, unless for the times we see McDavid and Draisaitl with Roslovic or Mangiapane, when they are down in behind. That still doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But, again, what do I know? But I'm liking what I'm seeing from this lineup tonight. And some more news with the Oilers from Tom Gazzola. Kris Knoblauch says Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is expected to return this weekend, so obviously he will not be in the lineup tonight against the Dallas Stars. Those lines were from the morning skate this morning. Nothing confirmed, so it'll be confirmed during the lineup. And also, Kasperi Kapanen also getting close to returning from LTIR. Matthias Ekholm, saying, just because the Oilers are home, it is not time to be complacent. It's obviously nice to be home, but when you're gone for a long time, you come home and it's just easy to take a breath and kind of sit back too much. So we got to realize that we're home and we're in a position where we need points, and obviously we feel comfortable playing at home, and we got to make sure we take advantage of that and start to make our way up the standings a little bit. I think everybody's in realization of that. Again, you can't get complacent just because you're at home there, you're in front of, a packed crowd at Rogers Place, who are wanting to see these Oilers, get a whole lot better. But again, you are up against the Dallas Stars. Now, meanwhile, the Dallas Stars have a whole lot of injuries there, and they also have a guy that is suspended there with Mikko Rantanen. But they are without, Ilya Lyubushkin, which is more addition by subtraction if you've seen the way Lyubushkin plays for all of his teams. Thomas Harley, Nils Lundqvist in Matt Duchene there. But the Stars, again, a force to be reckoned with. 13-5-4. One of those 13 came against the Oilers in a 4-3 shootout win, where the Oilers blew a 3-1 lead with 12 minutes to go in the third period there. They have 30 points, second in the Central, still 7 behind the Colorado Avalanche there. That just goes to show how good the Avs have been this season there. And then the power play and penalty kill percentages, the special teams have been quite literally special for the Dallas Stars. Almost 30%. They're 22 for 75 on the power play and 75% on the PK there. So again, the special teams and the Dallas Stars, led by former Oilers assistant Glenn Gulutzan there, they have, been the same consistent Dallas Stars team that we've seen ever since, they went back to the Stanley Cup Final in 2020. Now, without, all the injuries there, or with all the injuries, no Rantanen, no Duchene, so on and so forth, the Stars, that top six is still incredibly lethal there. I mean, you have RoboCop, Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Y. Johnson, Sam Steele there. You can, pretty much ignore the bottom six. I mean, the Dallas Stars are a very top-heavy team there, but what a heavy top that is. And on the back end, Esselin, Dell, Miro Heiskanen, Alex Petrovic, Leon Bichel, who, has been, quite the enemy in the eyes of Oiler fans ever since, last year's Western Conference Final. And between the pipes tonight for both teams, Stuart Skinner has been confirmed to be the starter tonight for the Oilers, and on the other side, it will most likely be Jake Ottinger. Now, this will be a huge test for the Oilers. I mean, the last time I said that it was a huge test against a big Central Division team, they got pumped 9-1, so hopefully that doesn't repeat itself again. But that is it for today's video, folks. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Oilers tactics-wise so far there. Do you think, Kris Knoblauch has, his finger on the pulse with this Oiler team and how they can get back on track? Or do you just not completely trust him at all? I'm very curious to see what you all have to say down below. But let's get a win tonight. Let's get a win streak going here. beat Dallas, go into Seattle, beat the Kraken, and then let things take themselves from there. I mean, the Oilers historically awful in December. Hopefully we can flip the script and, start a winning streak in December. But enjoy the games tonight. Let's go Oilers. Let's hear some La Bamba tonight. I'm Matt.